There's this quirk to the major scale which isn't discussed enough, but which I think just might be the secret to unlocking scale patterns on the guitar fretboard. It's also quite possibly the best way for me to explain musical keys and key signatures to you. It's something called a tetrachord. And its name is somewhat deceptive because it has nothing to do with chords and harmony. It's actually a 4-note ascending sequence of the musical alphabet. But this sequence has a defined formula: whole step, half step. 4 notes bound by the interval of a perfect fourth. You find it between the 5th major scale degree up to the root note. Playing it has the sound of resolution on the C, like you've arrived at home. But the tetrachord is also found at the beginning of the major scale, between the root and the 4th major scale degree. The major scale is formed of 2 stacked tetrachords. Let's call them the lower tetrachord, root to 4, and the upper tetrachord, 5 to root. Play them both sequentially and you get the sound of the C major scale. What is less obvious playing across the 2 strings is the whole step between the F and the G note, like the chain linking the 2 tetrachords. Adding this in will complete the full major scale formula: whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Or lower tetrachord, whole step, upper tetrachord. Now, if you can master the tetrachord, you can easily create major scale patterns anywhere. And there are only 4 possible note combinations to play a tetrachord across a string pair. Pattern 1 is playing the tetrachord on each of the 2 strings. As you're mostly moving horizontally, the note spacing is identical on both of the strings. The thing to look out for is the placement of the upper tetrachord. For most string pairs, it will be 2 frets above the starting root note. Think power chord. Between strings 3 and 2, the upper tetrachord begins an additional fret higher, so 3 frets above the root note. From 4 notes on a single string, you can move to pattern 2. 3 notes followed by 1 on the string below. When doing this, the 4th note will be in the same fret as the root. The key to unlocking the tetrachord's value is to simply add the whole step and then repeat the same note pattern for the upper tetrachord, 3 notes followed by 1 note on the string below. Pattern 3 is to play 2 notes on each string. As you do so, you'll be starting the scale on finger 2. Once again, simply add the whole step and repeat the same note pattern for the upper tetrachord. Pattern 4 is 1 note followed by 3 notes on the string below. Here you'll look to start on finger 4. As you see, the tetrachord will help unlock scale patterns on the fretboard. But I think it can also demystify key signatures. The tetrachord is the reason why there are sharp or flat notes in certain keys. Let me explain. So the major scale contains a lower and upper tetrachord linked by that whole step. The root note is found at either the start or end of each tetrachord. So couldn't the F and G also be potential root notes? Yes! Taking G first, G, A, B, C of C major can become the lower tetrachord of the G major scale. Raise a whole step and add a tetrachord from D and you get the full G major scale. The half step is the clue as to where a sharp note must be added to the upper tetrachord. D, E, F, G must become D, E, F sharp G for the whole half formula to remain intact. There we have the notes of the G major scale, formed once again from 2 tetrachords. This upper tetrachord of G can in turn become the lower tetrachord of what will be D major. Its upper tetrachord will again require the 3rd note to be sharpened for the formula to work. C becomes C sharp and you have the notes of the D major scale. In summary, when moving a tetrachord from the upper to lower position, its upper tetrachord will have its third note sharpened to maintain the scale formula. Progressively, this forms what I call the sharp side of the musical keys, which ends when all 7 notes of the scale are sharpened in what would be C sharp major, back to the C major scale. In the opposite direction, a lower tetrachord can become the upper tetrachord. But once again, the half step in its lower tetrachord results in the B note being flattened. FGAB will become FGAB flat for the lower tetrachord of F major. FGAB flat can then become the upper tetrachord of B flat major. And once again, it is the 4th note of its lower tetrachord which must be flattened. When moving a tetrachord from the lower to upper position, its lower tetrachord will have its 4th note flattened to maintain the formula. And this forms the flat side of the musical keys, which ends when all 7 notes are flattened in what will be C flat major. With 7 sharp keys, 7 flat keys, and the neutral C major, that's 15 scales. But with only 12 notes in Western music, there is some overlap of the sharp side and the flat side. This is all beautifully presented in the circle of fifths. Clockwise, you are moving from upper to lower tetrachord, and the 3rd note in the upper is sharpened. Counterclockwise, you are moving from lower to upper tetrachord, and the 4th note in the lower is flattened. I have a free circle of fifths PDF for you to download and explore from this new perspective. Do like the video if it helped, and subscribe if you'd like to see more like this. Practice well, and I'll see you again soon. Maybe try this lesson.